Al Ninos, Jay, and Rod with us here live. And of course, got a few other cappers that might or might not be joining us. Jovan was here as well. I'm just not sure where he is. He was in his car, and so I'm not really sure. But anyways, got a full card of games today. We got more preseason games than I think we've had any other day. We've got full card of Major League Baseball, including a doubleheader. So we got plenty of sports to talk about. Good day to take a pass for some people, but not for us. We don't pass. We just keep showing up. But anyways, Chris, we had a talk on yesterday's show, and I mean, we don't always agree on everything, but we did agree on one thing. It's that you don't bet on the preseason unless you really see something. And when we saw Ian Book was going to be on the field for the New Orleans Saints, I said, no reason to go 5%, 10%, or anything like this. Take everything you own and put it on the other team. And Ian did not disappoint us once again. He is the worst player in the NFL for the he's going if he makes the I think that the tragedy here is that he might not make the roster. So, he might lose that title of being the worst player in the NFL. I thought that 8-sack performance on Thursday Night Football against the Dolphins in that game was something special. You just don't see that too often. A guy coming in, getting sacked 8 times, 2 interceptions, 1 going to the house. Of course, that was his first NFL pass. Kind of sets the tone for the entire career. But, when they saw him take the field last night in Lambeau, I know Wisconsin online sports betting not legal yet, but they sure were wishing it was. Chris, what'd you think of that contest last night?
I was thinking to myself, as soon as Ian Book came in, I was like, I wonder how many live bets you made at that point. That it was.
I didn't have anything left in my betting accounts at that point because I had dumped it all on the Anti-Book show.
Well, it was definitely definitely not a great performance for Ian Book again, and I wonder if he's going to land on the Saints or if he's even going to land another NFL gig. I said yesterday, I think there's someone that'll be desperate enough to pick him up, even if they're in an injury situation. But it doesn't look good for him after last night, after his second preseason performance, and saw that
he did throw for 113 yards on 16 completions, which means he's a dinker and dunker on his best day. And you go 16 to 28 for 113 yards. That means you can't throw the ball downfield. And he also got sacked twice, so he's reducing his sacks by 75% against that performance we saw against the Dolphins. But of course, it was only preseason. But he did throw the one Oski. He did get the intercept. He did get a touchdown as well. But the Ian Book show, nothing pretty about it. He did have a 27-yard run. That was the highlight of his career.
And it came in a preseason game against the Packers. So
on the road,
at Lambeau. So at least he can hang his hat on that.
Well, Danny Etling was 1 of 1 for 0 yards in that same contest. So
100% completion percentage,
which is 1 more pass than he completed at LSU in his entire career. Romanelli, you betting preseason? Or are you just on the running it down for the MLB until the NFL kicks off officially?
I've done a little bit of preseason here and there. I've got a premium play today, and I think I agree with you. You got to make sure you find some value, and it's tough to find that in the preseason sometimes, but. Some games I've seen it's a little bit better than others, especially when more of the information's announced by both of the coaches. So, I've been sprinkling in the NFL preseason, but mostly focusing on the MLB.
But do you think that, like you find a guy like Ian Book that you see is going to play, considerable time in a game, and you just say, this guy's straight ass. It's kind of like the Geno Smith thing. You see Geno Smith, you see Ian Book, guys that you would never see in real life, except we did see Ian Book last year. And, 8 sacks, 2 interceptions, 1 taken to death. I don't know. Me and Chris did, we went through all kinds of sorts of professional athletes, whether you would rather have them on your team or Ian Book. We did this whole thing yesterday. It was like Andrew Kashner, Ian Book. It's like Kashner, it was like there wasn't one player in any sport that you wouldn't rather have than having Ian Book as your quarterback. He stinks.
Poor guy.
He stinks, man. He really stinks. But, we do see the Detroit Lions in action today, so we'll get plenty of chance to see some stinking as well. Any stinkers you see out there? Do you have any other Ian Books that might be flying under the radar for us here for the preseason?
Well, I would say, it's concerning to see guys like Geno Smith and Davis Mills last night for the Texans, guys that could be getting starting jobs. I think Drew Lock's pretty much got the Seattle job locked up, but Davis Mills, the Texans have mentioned that he's their guy. They're going with him as number one, but I have to say Kyle Allen and even Driscoll looked a lot better than Mills last night, and I know they were going after second and third stringers, but Davis Mills, I didn't like the way he ran that offense. He had a nice drive at the end of the game, at the end of the first half to get a touchdown, but still, I think throughout the first half he was disappointing against mostly backups in the Rams.
Yeah, it's been ugly. It just goes to show you that maybe Jerry Jones had it right. Just says if our backup comes in, we're not going to win anyway, so why invest any money into this at all? It doesn't matter. And, that's how David Blau and Tim Boyle will be seeing some quality time today. They'll be getting some reps. When Jared Goff is your QB1, as they call him these days, I call him the starting QB, but they call him the QB1. And, Tim Boyle, David Blau is their worst starting rotation. This is like the Boston Red Sox starting rotation right here. This is just as bad as it gets. Jared Goff, Tim Boyle, David Blau.
They're basically the same guy each time.
It's just bad, and bad. Speaking of bad, Al Nino's a bad man. What's happening now?
Doing pretty good here, man. Just, still staying away from the preseason and just looking forward to the regular season, man. Obviously there's going to be some good spots and some good trends to follow, but I think I'll still take a pass on the preseason as a whole.
Well, the big trend that we saw yesterday that came through was the Miami Marlins 11 in a row on the run line as dogs versus the National League West. Improbable situation. They were plus money getting runs at Los Angeles. Conveniently lost 2-1, and then here they are again today at plus 1.5, plus money once again. Sandy going tomorrow. Of course, he got lit up at Dodger Stadium the last time he was there.
Yeah, again, I was on the Dodgers yesterday. I had a pretty good day overall, but yeah, that one fell just short on that one. And
so the Dodgers have won. They've won 11 in a row against the National League. The Marlins have covered 11 run lines as dogs versus the National League West. So this is one where you could double dip.
I know. I know you hate laying odds with the run lines, and I usually try to be careful laying run lines with the home team. So, that was two big red flags there, if you will. But sometimes I still think some teams can get it done. When you have an offense like the Dodgers and the way their pitching staff has been, I think that, and of course the way they've been playing at home too. So, and of course, the Dodgers have been covering that run line at home as well. So, I just think sometimes with some teams it's worth taking that chance. Obviously, it was wrong yesterday, but it happens.
Rod, the Ravens don't play until tomorrow. The bandwagon jumper team. The Bills also, have quite a bandwagon jumping following here for the preseason as well. I guess they've kind of flown under the radar bandwagon, but still, because the Ravens aren't playing today, that puts the Bills as the main bandwagon jumping team. Any other maybe baseball bandwagon teams? Seems like a lot of anti-Giants and Padres from the Roniacs. I usually look there to see where the bandwagon is headed. We look at the Ron's rundown. We look at the comments, and the Roniacs will usually point you to where the bandwagon is these days.
For the bandwagon probably hanging out in the Mets. People like the Mets. You see, because DeGrom came back, and people are enamored with DeGrom and him coming back, and just like I think we mentioned on the drive-thru yesterday, it's like for me, I think the Braves. People are going to start boarding the Braves, and if Soroka comes back and adds to that lineup of the Braves, I think everybody's pounding the Braves bandwagon.
The Mets have the
Think
best
that.
record in baseball.
Right.
76 and 42. They have the best
That
record.
bandwagon's getting full. Yeah, I hear
Yeah,
a
but
lot of Mets everywhere.
they are doing some.
Mets.
I mean, they made Aaron Nola cry yesterday. I mean, he just like he thought he was going to get off the hook. You know, they had the runner on third and 2 out, and boy, that Pete Alonso home run. He just stood there and watched it. He didn't even like pretend like it wasn't going to be a home run, or he was concerned, or he was going to run it out or anything. He just stood there. It was just like, yeah. Aaron, I mean, and that's, that just shows you the Phillies probably no answers there, No, they might make the postseason. They have zero chance of beating the Mets or the Braves or the Cardinals. Zero chance.
And then we know the Dodgers bandwagon. That thing's always loaded.
They won't beat the Dodgers either, though. They're going to get swept if they make the postseason. Yeah. Jay, you got your Blue Jays hat on. I've been kind of leaning a little bit on the Blue Jays the past couple weeks. I say that, if you get to play all your home games and you get to pick a few players from the other team that don't get to play, you should win all your games, all of them. It's Major League Baseball, and every advantage you can get, whether it's one of your frontline starters, which has happened in some of these games for the Blue Jays, and other games where it's just role players, but they're on the roster, so obviously they're filling some role. If you're getting paid a Major League Baseball salary to sit there. So, I mean, the Toronto Blue Jays, I would say the fact that they haven't been able to win all of their home games, basically sweep the board since you get an advantage in every single game. You start with an advantage. Basically, it's like on Survivor, like if you win the thing and you get the advantage in the challenge, it's kind of like the same thing here for the Blue Jays. They've had this type of advantage in every single game. Obviously, they're taking it to the Yankees in this series, but we got to be concerned. And, I know that Ruffalo had a few nice things to say about Alek Manoah earlier this week. He said he was too fat, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, me and the Blue Jays right now have a love-hate relationship going on, But like you said, they've been doing pretty well against the Yankees, man, so, hey, let's go Jays.
All right.
I'm feeling with them right now, They're so inconsistent, though. You never know with those guys.
We got Jovan in the house. He's actually in his car, not where I'm in my house. But anyways, Jovan, we've got, let me see, do we have it on the board there? There we go. Anyways, we've got, last night Mac Jones played considerable amount of time in that game and did not look good. I just did not see it. It just seems that he has no weapons. I thought that the most impressive player in the field was James White in his commentary from the sideline, talking about his retirement and his time with the Patriots. I really, to me, I thought that was the most impressive thing about the Patriots last night, even though they did manage to pull off the win.
Well, on the defensive side, they did look okay, But as far as the offense goes, yeah, they need some work. And truth be told, having 3 games as for the preseason, it's a detriment to them. They have a young team, especially on the offensive side of the ball. They're still in flux with their coaching situation. Who's going to call the plays? I think when it's all said and done, Bill Belichick is going to take the reins on that because you really can't have any faith in Matt Patricia and Joe Judge calling the shots, on the offensive end. So I think it's going to be a situation where game 1, Belichick is calling the plays and see how that goes.
It just seems to me like the Patriots the offense just didn't look to be in sync whatsoever. But like you said, the defense came up with some big plays, and against PJ Walker and, knocked him back, out of field goal range on the one drive. And then, of course, the touchdown that sealed the game at the end.
Oh, that was
that was,
Yeah, a cheap cover, but hey, I was doing that, so I was on the under all day, so.
Had it all the way. But anyways, we're going to go around the horn. We're going to bring everyone in individually, go over the games. So it's kind of like the old style, new style. We'll do the mix where we kind of start off this way, and then we get everyone a chance to come in one by one and talk about a game. So I know some people don't like this style, some people do, but with college football on the way and NFL football on the way and college basketball, can you imagine if we went down the college basketball entire schedule? I know there are people that want to see it, but if you want everybody's best bets, you can always get those at the premium area, and that's what they're there for. But we're going to start off with Jovan. Obviously, he's in his car, so we're not going to make him sit there all day. So let's see. All right. Oops. Did I hit something wrong? And no, that's Rod. Here we go. All right, I got it now. Jovan, welcome. How you doing today?
Doing all right, out and about early, so I'm here.
It's the way to do it. We got a full schedule of games today, just an absolute ton. Tons of preseason football and 16 Major League Baseball games and plenty to choose from. What are you looking at here for a free pick for everybody?
Well, I'm looking at a baseball game. Looking at one of the better matchups of the day. The White Sox versus the Guardians, Johnny Cueto versus Shane Bieber. And, for me, I expect this one to stay under. Yesterday, it stayed under, surprisingly. I thought that one was going to get over the total for sure, but it didn't happen. But I think in this one, you have two pitchers they're both in peak form. You see Johnny Cueto, he does give up hits, but at the same time, they're not daggers, they're not, hits that's going over the yard or anything like that. And when he has guys on the base paths, he usually gets out of trouble. So, if you look at him and his output in his last three, I believe he has like a 2.85 ERA or a 2.45 ERA in his last three. Shane Bieber on the other side is even better in his last three, 1.85 ERA. Both of these pitchers, they're going deep in the ball game, 6, 7, 8, innings, in these guys outings. So I expect a pitcher's duel in this one. I expect a 3-2, 4-3 type of game. Hopefully the bullpens don't affect the game too much. That's always a concern, but when I believe when it's all said and done, that the under prevails.
How much do you put into how long can streaks actually get? When we look at the streaks out there and we say, man, the Guardians just own the White Sox. I'm a White Sox fan, and I've talked about this all year. I've talked about it last year. I've talked about it forever. The Guardians, they just own the White Sox 12 in a row in the favorite role, and Shane Bieber, who's just been filthy against the White Sox. I can't even tell you how many times I've watched the White Sox where it's second and third, one out or nobody out, and nobody scores with this guy on the mound. That's what really separates the great pitchers from the other pitchers, is that the great pitchers, they know how to get out of trouble, and it's like one out and guys on. Like we saw Bassett last night, just saw down the Phillies, with runners at third base with less than, 2 outs, and just, strike them out on 3 pitches, with basically a no chance, type situation. And Bieber does the same thing. He seems to always do it to the White Sox too.
Yeah, that's definitely fair to say. You're dealing with a Guardians team who, they're, I believe, 3 games is ahead of them, the White Sox. They're just trying to put distance on against them, now at this point. I believe that the White Sox, they're done for the season. They fold up 10, season's over for them. So technically it's not, but after what I've seen, though, they had a chance to really do damage in their last series. Didn't happen and went the other way. And like you said, once you after that series, you're facing a team who basically has your number. Yes, there's going to be a pretty long weekend. Close games, but pretty long weekend at the end of the day.
Well, what do you got for sale today for everybody?
Yeah, so this Saturday, I'm just gonna bypass baseball, for the moment. Yesterday I had a standalone play, NFL X played hit. So I'm taking 3 more plays from the NFL preseason. So I have single plays up on that. I have a 3-pack momentarily, just in case you want the 3-pack of those games. And that's basically it. $39.99 at the website.
Awesome. Well, as always, we appreciate you coming here and sharing your knowledge with us, and hopefully we see you tomorrow as well. And feel better. We know that you've been fighting the good fight through the voice thing here, but we expect you'll be back in regular season form for NFL start.
Yeah, the voice is getting there slowly but surely, so hopefully I get my voice fully back in the next couple of days.
All right. Well, next up we got Al Ninos. Al, how's it going today? Can't hear you.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Doing pretty good. How are you, Mitch?
I'm doing good, man. Just going over the games and trying to make a couple bucks. That's what we do.
Yep.
Well, looking at the board today, you said earlier you're avoiding the NFL preseason. We're kind of at that point in the baseball season where it is the haves versus have-nots. But, as we know every year, the favorites just don't march home. It just doesn't work that way. There's always, a Washington Nationals to come in and throw the thorn in the side. Who do you think's the team that, like, of the thorn in the side teams? Who do you fear the most as a favorite player? Like, who's the one team that kind of doesn't get a lot of respect but seems to do some damage to the bankroll?
Interestingly enough, I think I'm going up against one of those teams in my pick today. I think, and I think I've mentioned this before, the Rangers are a team I think that can be dangerous with that lineup. It's just I can't trust their pitching really, and there's them, and then let me see, off the top of my head, I was pretty strong on the Tigers early in the season, just because I think they have a couple of hitters in that lineup that can hit some home runs, and sometimes that's all you need to win a ball game if you can get a couple of those, at the right time. But again, they haven't really come through for me in the spots I've really wanted them to, and so I think it's probably the Rangers that are most. That's the one that comes to my head.
All right, well.
I think
leads us right
maybe
into
the
today's
Rockies
pick.
too. Maybe the Rockies too. But
they haven't won 20 games on the road yet all season, so I don't buy into that one. But anyways, let's get into the game that you were going to talk about. That's the Twins and the Rangers.
Yeah, as I was saying here, a couple guys in this Rangers lineup that worry me a little bit. Mainly, maybe it's because I'm a Dodger fan, but I think Corey Seager is still a great hitter. But overall, I think the Twins do have the better lineup here. They have the better starter, Chris Archer. Not the most dependable starter. Probably the main reason this didn't make it as a premium play, although it really was on my list last night. Decided to sleep on it. Line went up overnight, and I didn't really like the new line where it was at. So I still think we can get some value on the -1 here because they should cover the run line again. As I said earlier on the show, I tend to be careful with those run lines in the home teams. So I definitely prefer the -1s with the home teams when I can. I think we're getting the right price to do just that with this matchup here. Glenn Otto, you were talking the streaks and how long, or something about streaks with Joe Vaughn earlier. He has a pretty impressive streak here. Otto going 6 straight starts, giving up a home run, including 2 in the first of those 6 games. I hope I didn't just jinx that streak, but the Twins do have some guys that can hit home runs too, and I think they do get at least one off him, and in the right situation here. He's also struggled with his walks, giving up 6 walks to just 1 strikeout in his last start. 4 walks, just 5 strikeouts on the start before that. So if he walks a few guys before that home run, that could be costly there too. And at the end of the day, I think the Twins get the job done. So I'm taking them -1 here, both betting them money line and run line.
All right. Well, what do you got for sale today at Pick Dogs?
Again, I thought I was gonna have a lot of plays on the premium side, but just the 3-pack today. You can get that all in the 3-pack. You can get my best bet if you're just looking for one play. Better yet, grab the long-term pass, still the best deal out there, and the 2-for-1 capper specials.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it as always. And we're going to bring in Ron Romanelli next of Ron's Rundown fame and see what he's got to say for himself. Thanks, Al, for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you. Have a good one.
Brings us to Ron Romanelli. Ron, how's it going?
Hey, Mitch, how you doing?
Good, man. I just I meant to ask you earlier. You know, the Ronniacs, they seem to melt down. You know, every time a favorite loses. You know, the favorites lose 60 times a year in Major League Baseball. I mean, and that's some of them. Most of them lose even more than that. You know, any words of advice for, like, it just seems that they have, 17 parlays hanging on, a minus 360 favorite, which isn't going to help them all that much anyway.
Yeah, I think it just goes to show you why I don't and why you don't and why a lot of bettors out there don't do parlays or rely on parlays. That's exactly where the books want you to be. And I know it's the kind of a desirable play just because you don't have to put a little bit of a wager to win a good amount of money. But the risk you're taking and the odds that you're getting they don't match. So, pulling off a 6, 7, 18 parlay, it's near impossible most nights. And, sometimes it will come down to that final leg. You'll hit 6 or 7 legs, but that just goes to show you that it's mathematically designed that way to make you kind of reel in and make it seem like, oh, you had a real good chance there. Try it again tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. But there's every day of baseball, there's probably going to be multiple favorites of minus 150 or higher that are going to lose each day, and we've seen that plenty of times this season. I mean, the Dodgers have the best record in baseball. They've lost 36 times this year, which isn't a lot of times, but still 36 different days where the Dodgers lost the game, and they were probably minus 200 or more. So, you just got to pick your spots, and that's why I don't love parlays, and I just don't see them as a viable way to win it. I haven't met one professional that only does parlays.
No, I'll do like 3 or 4 parlays a year. A lot of times on my NFL halftimes, we'll do some parlays, some in-game, some halftime parlays. But most of the time, I might do, like I'll be in Vegas and just have, $100 and just put it down on, 5-team parlay or something, or 7-team first half parlay, for $35 or something. But it's like,
no, yeah, they're fun to do.
I can't hinge every day. It's hard enough to win one. It is.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
It's hard enough to win
one game.
Yep. So let alone just to put them all together.
Yeah, I mean, they're fun to throw in, and you can have one every day, like maybe a money line underdog parlay, a long shot parlay. But if that's the only plays that you're having each day, I think you're going to have not a lot of success.
Yeah, I think if it's the only thing you're playing, you have to round robin. You have to.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to round robin, and then it gets expensive. So then your return, you have to hit half the plays just to break even.
Yeah.
But, if you have that right day, then it's, it is the real right day.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the rundown plays this year, they have been pretty good round robin options. We've done pretty well, but I haven't swept the board yet, and I don't think I will. I mean, going 15-0, I think is less than 1% chance. So it just goes to show you how difficult it is to actually win.
I swept the board one day this week on my 7 picks, and then
nice.
I think the next day I was 2-5. So it just goes to show you. And the thing is, it's just parlaying is just it's so hard, and I don't care. Yeah. I mean, I've been in pools where you have to we did it last year for the NFL. We ran a contest, and it was no point spreads. Just pick the winners of games, and nobody ever ran the table. Not one person picked every game correctly. And even though these guys on Twitter and in the Ron's comments, seem to hit $8,000 parlays on a regular basis. I've yet to see, yet to see anybody in my life that's been able to do it. And I know some pretty good handicappers. I know some lousy handicappers too, but that's besides the point. Anyways, Ron, what do you got going on for everybody today as far as a free pick?
Yeah, I'm looking at that St. Louis Cardinals Arizona Diamondbacks game. Last night we saw a low scoring game between those two. It was a 5-1 final score, but it was pretty low scoring throughout. But I see the opposite today. I like the over in this game. When you look at both of these starting pitchers, I like both of the offenses matched up against them. Madison Bumgarner is really struggling. He's given up at least 4 earned runs in each of his last 4 starts against the Braves, Rockies, Pirates, and Giants. And now it doesn't get any easier by facing this Cardinals lineup, who's ranked number 1 in the last 30 days in team OPS against lefties. They are crushing lefties with a 922 team OPS. They're also number 1 in baseball with a number 1 in 267 isolated power. They don't strike out much against lefties, and we know Bumgarner has been able to miss some more bats recently, but I don't think that's going to be the case in this particular spot. And I think the Cardinals get to Bumgarner early. I don't really love this Diamondbacks bullpen either, so I think the Cardinals score 6-7 runs themselves. And on the other side, Dakota Hudson doesn't really strike out a lot of guys, and he walks a good amount of batters. So he's only got about 5.07 Ks per 9, 4.09 walks per 9. So almost an even strikeout to walk ratio. That's what you don't want to see. And the Diamondbacks, although they might not be the strongest lineup in terms of runs per game and run scoring and batting average, they still have a decent OPS and isolated power against righties in the last month and really all season long. And they don't strike out much. They actually have the lowest strikeout rate as a team against righties in that last month, 17.1%. And they have a top 10 highest in team walk percentage as well. So I think against a guy like Hudson who doesn't miss bats and does put guys on base via the walk, this is a good opportunity for the Diamondbacks to get on the board after last night's sluggish performance at the plate. So I'm going to take the over in that Cardinals-Diamondbacks game.
How much better does Yadi Molina make the pitching staff? Like how much better does a catcher like that? It doesn't always show up because he hasn't been at anything at the plate really for the last few years. He's a little slow, even getting to first base, to avoid the double play. He's, not quite the hitter that he was. I mean, he still gets his hits and, but doesn't even get him as much as he used to, right? But how much better because Adam Wainwright says that he makes him a much better pitcher. Like he said, Adam Wainwright, probably borderline Hall of Fame for Wainwright at this point. Say if they win the World Series, he probably is in. The thing is that, he says Yadi Molina makes him an infinitely better pitcher. He said it's like throwing to a big pillow back there, and he said he doesn't have to worry about the guy on first base.
Yeah, I don't doubt it because, obviously I'm not a professional player, but there's been plenty of catchers, even still, other than Yadi Molina. You could look at a guy like Martin Maldonado for the Astros, who, doesn't have a lot at the plate. He hits about below 200 most years. Has a little bit of power, but the reason he's an everyday catcher is just because of how good a fielder he is. And we saw for years Jeff Mathis with the Texas Rangers and other teams. He was one of the worst hitters you'll ever see play baseball, but he was also one of the best framers for a catcher. He could take a ball that was thrown outside the strike zone, move it into the strike zone without making it look too obvious, and get a lot of strike calls for his pitchers, and that's why he continued to get a job in the major leagues. You look at his numbers offensively; they are atrocious. They're like one of the worst. But he was one of the best fielding catchers, so that's why he got a job. So the catcher position, we don't see a lot of batting title guys, home run champions.
Not recently, no. But it used to be. I mean, Yogi Berra won several MVPs. Thurman Munson was outstanding. Johnny Bench has won some MVP. I mean, there's Pudge Rodriguez was pretty outstanding in his day.
But there's about 10 of them.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Mike Piazza, Yogi Berra, Johnny Bench. But when you look at like first baseman, you can go down the list forever. Outfielders.
Right.
So it's kind of like the shortstop and center field position where they're more designed for their glove rather than their bat. So, yeah, a good catcher can definitely make a difference for a pitching staff.
Yeah, it just seems that pitcher and catcher defensively are guys that can change the game. Those are two positions where it's like if the fix is in, it's one of those two guys, right? It's like it's definitely it has to be one of those two, have to be involved. But anyways, what do you got going on today? I know yesterday you had a real heater going on with your rundown $15 plays. Yesterday you went with a little bit of a reach, but today back on the horse. We don't sit there and talk about the one instead of. So what are you then? Instead of being 9-0, are you like 8-1 or something? Your last 9 or something?
We're 14-3 in our last 17.
Yeah, so you that'll pay the bills.
Yeah, definitely. We're number 1 in the last 30 days, number 2 last 7 days. We've been red hot. So we had a winning day overall yesterday too. So you can check out my 3-pack. I've got my MLB best bet in that 3-pack with my Moneyline Slammer and my NFL preseason best bet. Or you can check out just my Ron's Rundown $15 play by itself. Check out my long-term plans to save and win big, and hopefully we continue this heater. It's been one of the hottest I've been in my career so far. I haven't been doing this for too long, but I've been having a nice streak lately.
Well, you don't want to jinx it too much there. But anyways, Ron, thanks for joining us as always, and we'll see you as always on the rundown. Definitely one of our most popular video these days. So, excited to see what happens with the NFL rundown. I know that the day that it's going to be released is not set in stone, but we'll figure it out. It's kind of one of those things that if one date isn't great for it, then, figure out another. Obviously, with the Thursday night game, a little bit of, some thought that goes with it there. It's like, to do a Friday rundown and do a separate, Thursday or,
we'll play around with it.
Yeah, so it's that. And then, of course, there'll be the college basketball rundown. And Ron says he doesn't want to do an NBA rundown. So if anyone out there wants to do an NBA rundown, maybe our next guest could be that guy. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But we always do.
Rundown for me.
We always do. But anyways, thanks for joining us. Our next guest is going to be Jay Briggs, our newest handicapper here. I'd like to see him do something with Ron. I think you get two young guys like that, probably have an exciting show and probably have something to talk about. I don't know. I'll just throw it out there, and then you guys can beat them up for it the way you kind of beat me up every time I remove someone from one of my shows. But Jay, welcome to the show.
What's up, Mitch?
NBA, is that one of your games? Is that one of your sports?
That's right in my wheelhouse. My second favorite behind NFL.
Well, maybe Romanelli can teach you how to do the rundown for the NBA because he is not interested in doing an NBA rundown, but he is going to do college hoops and NFL and all that other. So figure it out, whatever. But anyways, off to a good start with us here at Pick Dogs. I know that I'm not the easiest person to get people to join the site as a handicapper. I get about 100 emails a week of people wanting to join the site as a handicapper. I get them every way. I get them email. I get Twitter. If you send me a Twitter direct message, the chances of me responding within a day or two are very, very slim. It would be purely a coincidence if that happens. Normally, email is the best way to reach me. A lot of people reach out to me to be cappers. Generally, the answer is no. I don't mean it to be that you're not good enough or any of those things like that. It's just you got to prove it. Everybody says they're great and everybody wants to do it, and we're not going to sign up someone from Twitter with a clown emoji, thing, or like something sports, Upchuck Sports or whatever it is. We're not going to sign any of that stuff to work with us. It's like it's not what we're all about. It's not part of our branding. Our branding is about full transparency, about showing up. And doing the work. And you could see Jay, he could tell you, it's like, he's committed. You could see it. He's on the drive-thru. He's on the weekend shows. He's doing everything. Not always that easy, but it's certainly not mandatory that you show up as much as he does. But at the same time, he's off to a good start, and that's part of it. But anyways, Jay, what do you got going on for us today as far as a free pick?
So free pick wise today, Mitch, I'm looking at this Buffalo Bills, Denver Broncos game. We got a high line. I think it's the highest line of the weekend, but I'm going to ride it, man. I'm going to take them Buffalo Bills minus the 6.5. Nathaniel Hackett, the head coach for the Denver Broncos, pretty much came out and said a lot of the starters for them are not going to be playing. The Buffalo Bills head coach came out and said that at least his starters will be getting a few series, maybe a quarter. I think Josh Allen maybe can get us an early touchdown, maybe two, keep us ahead, and hopefully the second units and the third units in the second half won't give up that lead like we've seen in some of the other games or like we've seen last week. That's pretty much how I'm looking at this game. Josh Johnson, the quarterback for the Broncos. I know the Broncos won last week. They beat my Cowboys, but that's not saying much because my Cowboys don't really do much of anything in the preseason. Like you said, our backup quarterback situation with Cooper Rush and Ben DiNucci is pretty much non-existent. So
DiNucci's hideous. He's
yeah, it's pretty much
he's in that
non-existent.
Ian Book conversation. He
might be worse than Ian Book.
He might be worse than Book. No, he's not worse than Book. He might be. You can't be worse than Book. You can only be as bad as Book. Cooper Rush is actually a pretty good preseason quarterback, though. He's done well throughout his career in his opportunities in the preseason. He's one of the better preseason quarterbacks out there. But DiNucci is he's rough.
Yeah. So
how is he with the varsity? It's amazing. It's like he must work for league minimum.
Yeah, I think somebody in his family probably knows Jerry for a while, so he kind of just like family engraved in. That's the only thing I could think of why he's still on the team. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's amazing.
He always gets cut, gets brung back. I have no idea, but yeah. So the Broncos, they beat the Cowboys last week, which didn't really say much. I look for the Bills to win pretty convincingly today. I just don't see much of anything. I don't think they really care today. And I think the Bills, on the other hand, like you said, we're saying earlier in the rundown, the Bills are low-key the Ravens 2.0 if you've been paying attention. I've been paying attention. I think they won, 8 straight preseason games?
Something like that at this point.
That's a trend I like to see. That's a trend I like to follow. Like I said, it's a high line. I think we can get over. I think they cover that spread and get us a nice win today.
All right. Well,
I'm looking at it.
What else do you have going on today at Pick Dogs?
At Pick Dogs currently, man, I'm on a 10-2 run in the preseason, man. I got a 4-pack up there for you guys today in the NFL preseason. If you guys want to hop on that, I got my MLB best bet up there as well, which has been straight hot fire, man. However you want to say it, my MLB best bet's been cashing at a pretty good rate. I got that up there. Or you can hop on a long-term package, man. Hop on that season pass, man. The NFL is right here around the corner. Right around the corner, man. Or hop on that yearly. Like, we got the NFL, we got college basketball, college football, all that's right around the corner, man.
Yeah,
so,
this is the time. This is definitely the time, to jump on. Do you have your NFL season pass up already?
Yeah, I have my season pass up there. So up ready to go.
So jump on that, and if you buy anybody's NFL season pass before the NFL season starts, I'll throw in a free consensus report for the entire season as well on top of that. So
there you go.
All you got to do is email me, and when you buy your NFL season pass, so anybody's, mine, Ruffalo, Jay, Rod, Jovan, anyone, Romanelli, Bittler, anyone, I will match it with a free consensus report.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I got going on at Pick Dogs today. Look to make it a winning day.
Any thought? Do you have a premium on the Cowboys tonight against
I do.
Chargers? All right, so he does have a pick on that one. All right, I was going to ask you about it, try and squeeze another free pick out of you. Not going to happen. Okay. Well, thanks for joining us.
If you want another free one, I can give out.
All right, what the hell? Okay. We'll take one.
Another free one I got. I was looking at those Chiefs, kind of the same way I'm looking at this one. I think Pat Mahomes come out there and give us a good quarter, give us a good 2 drives. Last week, the Chiefs came out there. They jumped down to 14-0 lead. I was on the Bears last week. I was scared, nervous when I seen Mahomes out there. I didn't think he was going to play. They went up 14-0. The Bears walked them down. So I'm kind of scared that might happen with the Commanders today, but we're talking about the Commanders here, the football team, So I think the Chiefs jump up big, and I don't know if the Commanders necessarily have enough to walk them down. So
what do you think about this Commanders name? Like, what did you think about the choice of Commanders? I wanted Eskimos. I voted for Eskimos, but it didn't happen.
Me personally, man.
I mean, does that do anything?
I like tradition. They should have stuck with Redskins to me, but I understand that
I like the Eskimos. I thought Eskimos would have been a good one.
Or I like Red Wolves. Like, I think they should have went that direction or something. Commanders to me was the worst choice. most people still call them the football team. I still call them the football team. I don't really like Commanders at all.
They didn't really change the logo much, that's for sure, from football team to Commanders.
Yeah, I don't really know where they came up with that one. Eskimos would have been better than Commanders, like you said.
Eskimos, awesome. I love Eskimos. Anyway, speaking of Eskimos, we're going to bring in Rod Zawacki next. He loves him some Eskimos. Not sure if he likes the Elks as much, but anyways, Jay, thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.
For sure. See you tomorrow.
Rod and I led the campaign for Washington for the Washington Eskimos. Didn't happen for us, but they ended up with the Commanders and Elks. Two lousy names.
Oh,
terrible.
The Elks still have yet to win a home game after they named them the Elks. So the curse of the Elks at home is real. On the road, they've been playing great this season. They got a nice win yesterday. Smashed Ottawa yesterday. Ooh, wasn't even close.
Absolutely terrible. So, a lot going on today. We got NFL. We've got Major League Baseball. Just a ton of action, today, and it kind of leads us in where this will be the last Saturday show without football that counts,
right?
For a very long time, and that's good. That's
good. I'm excited.
Tomorrow will be the last weekend show. Well, actually, tomorrow will be the last weekend show that we don't have a football game that's a real game.
That's real meaningful game.
Yeah, so, pretty exciting. Even with week 0 right around the corner. But what do you got going on today?
Going on today, free play here. We're going to go with big marquee game here with the Astros and the Braves going at it. And we're going to take the under here. Christian Hammer gets the start for the Astros. The Astros are 5-5 in his last 10 starts, but he's been pitching lights out in his last 10 starts. His last 10 starts, he's got a 1.7 ERA, pitching lights out when he starts. And then we got Mustache Man giving out mustache rides for the Braves going today. You got Spencer Strider definitely giving out mustache rides. He's having a great season. 4-1 at home with a 2.66 ERA, and then even better when he pitches at night, 6.6-2 on the season at night games, 2.56 ERA. So I think we got a nice pitcher's duel on our hands here between the Astros and the Braves. And you look, Astros 4-0 to the under in Javier's last 4 starts versus teams with winning records. And then you look at these Astros, same thing, and they face teams with winning records. They tend to go to the under, 6-2 to the under. When their opponent scores 5 runs or more in the previous game. So Houston bounces back. Defense comes up, steps up to play after yesterday's late inning blow up. I think the Astros come to play today. Defenses come to shine. Braves 5-1-1 their last 7 when their opponent scores 2 runs or less to that under. So I like the under here. Take the under. Astros, Braves. I think we got a lower scoring one in our hands here.
Well, they say defense wins championships, and you have the 2 of the best teams. You have the team with the best record in the American League this year in the Astros, and then you have, the defending champs. And, in order to be the man, you got to beat the man. And, the Astros didn't beat him yet. And I don't know. It's like, if the series was in Houston, I probably would have a different opinion of it. But in Atlanta and the way the Braves are playing, it is just, it's tough sledding. It's tough assignment. And the Braves, they basically have played a playoff run over the last week. Played the Mets and now the Astros. They've had no room to come up for air.
Yeah, no rest. No, they've definitely been facing the hot teams, teams with winning records. And surprisingly, the Braves they haven't fared so well. They did yesterday. I lean Houston today, but I like the under better. I think it's a low-scoring game on our hands, 3-2, 4-2 at the most in this one. Take the under.
Well, you've killed football the last few years. What do you got for sale today at Pick Dogs Premium?
And for me, over at Pick Dogs Premium today, we hit our nice game of the week yesterday with the Guardians. They crushed the White Sox. So we're going to roll along with that. My best play in the MLB has been rolling. We hit our last 3. So I got another one of those going. My 10-star MLB executive info plays over at Pick Dogs Premium. Or you can get my Saturday Diamond Crushers, where you get all 3 of my MLB plays in one package. Or NFL X has been rolling along. We 5-1, lost our first one yesterday, but we'll bounce back with the single play that I have over in the NFL going today over at Pick Dogs Premium. Scoop it up. Or just like anybody else, we got all these long-term packages. If you just want a specific on one sport, on hockey, NFL, NBA, it's all available over at Pick Dogs Premium. You don't scoop it up over there.
You don't have Ian Book to fade today. Anyways, thanks for joining
us,
Rod.
You got some other people. You got your buddy Chase Daniels is getting the start.
David Blau's going to be on the field, so that always gets me excited. I see David Blau is, he's right up there, and DiNucci. Those are my guys. Anyways,
I like the over. I like the over in the Dallas game today. I think we see a whole pile in those two guys.
Hey, I had the under in the Cardinals Bengals last week, so that's I got stomped. I got crushed.
But those are one of the ones that you can look and you're like, you get stomped quick and you're like, well, that's over.
It was like
ripping the Band-Aid off quick. You're like, yeah, woo, that was done.
The total was like 29.5. They scored like 90. I mean, like, I'm not even kidding. It was like 54 to it was just awful. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow.
Definitely. Have a good one.
All right.
Everybody
Thanks.
Tomorrow.
We got Big Al up next joining us. He likes the new format. This way he can kind of get a little bit of rest in between. Doesn't have to sit around, and also doesn't have to give out a parlay if he doesn't want to. Al, how's it going?
It's going well. No, I mean, it's especially for us West Coast guys, it's better to do it get up later.
I know you've been trying to tap dance, navigate this Major League Baseball season, and we're getting to the point of the season where it is tougher and tougher, a lot less meat on the bone out there. Of course, NFL, preseason is, I mean, you got, how many times is Ian Book going to play significant minutes, in the NFL where you could just, where you get that automatic on a fade of someone like that. But, what's your take on the preseason? Is it something that you're like heavily involved in, or you just?
I used to be. After last season was the first year where we had just 3 games. So you had kind of, the first week, which I never want to play anyway. And you have the last week, which I really never want to play anyway, because it's kind of a throwaway week. And so I was left with just the middle week, and it really, I just wanted to study it more this year, because I didn't like what I saw last year with the new 3-game schedule. So this year I decided not to have any plays really the first 2 weeks. I'm probably just going to pass the entire preseason. Now I just didn't like the way the situations were setting up. I used to love betting on it when it was a 4-game schedule, because you could take advantage of things in the second and third weeks. But now with the way they do things, it's just changed everything. And I'm just not a fan. So.
Yeah, for me, it just seems that unless I see that real spot, or unless, it's almost better for, like, I take a shot on a money line underdog. It just seems that you're more likely to see that type of scenario. Like we saw the Bears the other night, absolutely stomp the Seahawks. I think in the preseason, you're more likely to see that. And I'm saying, but the thing is, that stuff happens in the regular season too. And we saw it a lot, not just in the NFL. We saw it in the NBA a ton this season too, where just the underdog comes in and wins by 30 or 40 points. Just, I don't know. And I don't. You read the YouTube comments, and people seem to be under the impression that the favorites always win and always cover, but it's far from the case. I'm not saying that the underdogs, do any better, but it's about 50-50, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So the books aren't.
I mean, historically, in the preseason, what I used to do in the 80s and 90s was I would just take the points, because especially early in the preseason, because my theory was that it's garbage football. And back then, the odds makers didn't have a clue what they were doing. I mean, they started to get a hang of the preseason maybe in the 90s, but in the first 20 years, I mean, I would routinely take teams plus 3.5 points or more in the first week of the preseason, just because of the value. And now you hardly see teams in the first week getting 3.5, because the odds makers have wisened up to that. But now I just think preseason is really just getting more difficult, so I'm just shying away from playing it.
So they're not standing out in front of the circle just handing out money.
No, last time I was there, a month ago, they weren't.
Yeah, it's I think a lot of people they they overestimate or are a little too optimistic about the NFL and, especially the NBA, which is even tougher. But, I mean, this is where the books make their most money is on these sports.
Yeah, well,
not if they were playing your picks, they weren't.
Well, that being said, I did want to talk about an NFL preseason game. I did think there was one situation today which, for a free play, is worth it. It's definitely not going to be a Pick Dogs premium play, but for a free play, I did want to look at if anyone, I hope no one's talked about it yet, but the Jacksonville-Pittsburgh game tonight.
Nope, no one has.
So what I like about this situation is that Jacksonville, obviously they played in the Hall of Fame game, so they're 0-2. Pittsburgh's 1-0. Pittsburgh beat the Seahawks last week 32-25, but Jacksonville was actually upset by Cleveland last week 24-13. And when you take a look at how winless teams do off an upset loss, they're 98-65 in the preseason if they're playing an opponent off a win, and if our winless team is not favored by more than 3 points. And in the preseason, that's generally a key number for me. I never want to lay more than 3 points in a preseason game. So that's the situation here. And, the Jaguars are 0-2 off the upset loss. The price right now is reasonable, roughly -1, -1.5. And I do like Jacksonville in this situation tonight.
So you don't think that, like, some coaches, they just don't have it? Like, we've seen these Jacksonville backup quarterbacks, and they've been absolutely just terrible in the preseason. I mean, not as bad as Ian Book was, but, I mean, like, bad, though. I think Ian Book could be the worst player ever in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean...
Danucci, who could go for could see action for the Cowboys. So he was up there, but it's rough. I mean, we were looking at this earlier. Can you imagine, like, being a full price season ticket holder, paying full price, and here's your quarterback depth chart: Jared Goff, Tim Boyle, David Blau. It's like, ouch. That's that's rough.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're a fan, you're a fan. I mean, I'm a Spurs fan. If I was living in San Antonio, I'd have season tickets even with their garbage team this year. So, yeah,
but they've at least have had some wins, over the years, and some the Lions have never been. They've never even been.
But you're still, the last wins were 2015. That was the end of the Spurs when Zaza Pachulia stepped on Kawhi Leonard. But yeah, I mean, if you're a fan, what are you going to do?
Eventually, there'll be a Lions-Browns Super Bowl or something. Eventually. Anyways, what do you got going on at Pick Dogs today?
I've got a baseball play. I lost last night, unfortunately. I had the Dodgers -1.5 runs, so they didn't get there. And I'm 31-15 in my last 46. I've got one baseball play today. And I was looking at a second game. The game that I was possibly thinking about adding, but it didn't make the cut, was, the Yankees today against the Blue Jays. That's almost like a pick your poison game. Do you want to, who do you trust, less? Do you trust the, Blue Jays or the Yankees at this point? But I thought about the Yankees. It almost made it. So the Yankees were my second favorite play today. But my favorite play is up at Pick Dogs Premium right now. And I've also already posted, for folks who want to get a jump start on next week, I've posted my college football game of the month for August. It's a play next Saturday, and that's posted as well at Pick Dogs.
So next month is, what's the date next Saturday?
August 27th.
Oh, so it's there only is week 0. So
exactly.
So it's your best play of the day for.
It's my best play of August, my best play of the week, my best play. Yeah. However you want to call it.
Best opening week pick. There's a lot of ways you can go with it, but do you have an NFL season package for sale that you're doing?
I do. All right. So, but I mean, I think the best deal is to just get the NFL and college combined. It's just another, couple $100.
If you buy any season pass, it's I'm throwing in a free consensus report for the season as well. So, kind of like what we did the other day when I did the anyone buys a monthly. I said you get my monthly also for free. So a lot of cappers, a lot of people took advantage of the monthlies and the 2-for-1 cappers that made it 3-for-1. But, yeah, I don't know why I said it. It was like one of those things I was on the show. I'm like, hey, I'll throw. And then I was like, why did I just say that? But a lot of people took advantage of it. So it's all for the good. All right, Al, thanks for joining us. You coming back tomorrow for?
I don't know. We're going out of town tomorrow, so it depends on what time you know
tomorrow
we leave. I think I will.
This is our last Saturday show with meaningless football, or with no meaningful football for a long time. So we're excited about that, and of course, I believe next Sunday is our last Sunday show with no meaningful football for a long time. So, because I think there's college football the following week on.
Yeah, I'll probably be here tomorrow just because I think we're probably going to leave around 9 a.m. So I'll probably be here. Yeah, it's our last vacation until the school year starts. So.
Anyways, we'll bring in.
Good luck to everyone.
Yep, we'll bring in Chris Ruffalo to bring us something. Someone's calling me. I can hear it through my computer. That's I'm kind of stuck here. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not, but. I don't know. Obviously not a fan of the show. Let's see if they leave a message. I don't recognize the number, that's for sure. All right. Oh, that's not the Ruffalo I was looking for. Let's see. And there we go. All right, Chris, welcome to the show. You're our cleanup batter here.
I'm not sad about it. I was enjoying the comfy chairs in the green room. So
I dragged everyone into the Ian Book zone today. I don't know, man. I just don't think we'll get the pleasure of seeing him much longer. You know, I think that's part of the issue.
Yeah, it's I said it earlier. I'll say it again. I think someone would be desperate enough if there were no other options. If everyone got injured, or if they just wanted a different quarterback to come in and try to shake things up. But he wouldn't be much of an improvement on anything anyone's got right now. Can you imagine if he joined the Detroit Lions with that quarterback rotation?
Yeah, there's a few teams I could see him landing on. To be honest with you. It's like, but I'd be surprised if he sticks with the Saints. I really would be. He knows the system. That would be the argument.
He was a middle round pick, I think, wasn't he?
Was he picked?
Like third. I thought he was. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'm not sure. Well, anyways, we heard enough. We've hear from you all week long. So not enough, but we hear plenty from you all week. What do you got going on today?
For the record, 4th round pick, but
wow,
yeah,
that's a fire the GM moment.
Someone actually wasted a 4th round pick on Ian Book. But for my play today, I'm going to go to this matchup between the Angels and the Tigers, and I'm going to look at the under in this one. We only saw one run between these two teams combined on Friday, and I think we will get more than one run in this game, but not by much. You look at Reed Detmers. This is a guy that threw a no-hitter, and then within about a month, he was back in AAA. Brought back at the beginning of July, and since it was sort of his wake-up call. A 1.50 ERA with 47 strikeouts and just 13 walks in those 6 starts, and getting a chance to get a crack at a Tigers team that's really just not hitting the ball well. But again, that's been their story for pretty much the entire season. But Tyler Alexander on the other side, he has struggled. Look at his last 7 starts, 0-7 with a 5.79 ERA. But since rejoining the Tigers rotation, he hasn't been terrible. He's only given up 3 runs in 1 start. The rest of them, he allowed 2 runs. He was going into the 5th and 6th innings in those games. And right now, I know Mike Trout came back into the lineup, but I don't trust this Angels team to get hits off of anybody right now. I think this is going to be one of those lower scoring games where the offense is so bad that it makes the starting pitching look pretty good. And I think just a capable outing from Alexander here, which he has delivered since rejoining the rotation, will be more than enough to keep this one under the number. So I like the under between the Angels and Tigers.
All right. The Tigers been decent at home, not so good on the road. And, actually lately haven't really been so good either in either place. But, I think the Tigers a lot to look forward to next season. Just kind of the way a lot of people thought this season might be it. But without Casey Mize, they just haven't had that top end guy of the rotation. I thought this would be Casey Mize's big year, but obviously wasn't meant to be.
Casey Mize, a half season of Matt Manning, not getting what you thought you were getting from Eduardo Rodriguez when you brought him in. Yeah, it's been a disaster to say the least for the Tigers this season.
Yep, but I think you give the manager a pass, and you move on.
I'm with you. I think you give AJ Hinch a pass as long as there's no garbage cans in the dugout. I think you're fine.
Yep. Well, what do you got for sale today at Pick Dogs?
Well, for me today, I got my $15 pick-off play. Hit yesterday going for back-to-back days. I also got my Saturday Slam 3-pack, the $15 play, not included in that 3-pack. So I have 4 MLB plays today. But hop on something long-term. For long-term subscribers, you're getting my NFL preseason picks as well. Those have been awesome to start the preseason. Hopefully carry that into the regular season as well. But whatever way you choose to go, use that promo code OG15, get 15% off. Also got my NFL and college football season passes up as well as a combo pass. And you heard Mitch, you get any cappers NFL pass before the regular season. You're getting a season-long consensus report as well. So definitely tons of options at Pick Dogs Premium. Just go check them out, take advantage.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Chris. Of course, we will see you tomorrow on the show. And really, that's about wraps it up for today. We appreciate everyone that tuned in to watch and all of our cappers that joined us today and all that kind of good stuff. So, like I said, we will see you tomorrow and make it a winning day.